What are the grey areas then, you know, for claiming expenses that actors might think are legit, but actually they're questionable?
Welcome everybody to episode 51 of WatchRoss, the one where it's all about the money. Yes, we are back in Lily's. It's very busy. I think it's half term, so I'm shouting. We've not been in Lily's for how many episodes? About 10 episodes. I come in here all the time for my coffee because I live up there, but we've not been here on the vlog for quite a while. So shout out to Brian, Carol, Dilly, all the staff. Best amaretto latte in the whole of Urmston. So today's vlog is all about money, okay? And it's about money for a reason, because it's the 9th of April as we record this. The 6th of April, a few days ago, was the start of the brand new tax year. If you're an actor or you're self-employed, you really need to be getting your systems in place and all your stuff together, so come 31st of January next year, you're ready to submit your return, your tax return, to HMRC, keep them happy, keep yourself out of prison. It's actually like a legal requirement, and a lot of actors struggle with this. They don't struggle with keeping themselves out of prison necessarily, but they struggle with their finances, they struggle with, you know, being self-employed, knowing how to register as self-employed if you're new to the industry. Maybe you've been self-employed for a while and you're like, I don't know whether I need to register as a limited company now to be more tax efficient. What are the VAT implications of that? What are my expenses? What can I claim back? What can't I claim back? How do I keep all my records? All this stuff. And I think it's really, really important. If you're an actor and you really want to kind of like, not just make money, but save money, you know, you've got to understand like how your accounts and how tax works really. Now I had a bit of a rough time with my accountant last year, to the point where I actually had to part ways with them yesterday. It was all very amicable. They just weren't quite as efficient as I'd like them to be when it comes to time frames and getting my return in. The first time ever my return has been put in on deadline day. Normally I'm months in advance. So I've been looking for a new accountant over the last month or so. So many actors in this industry, producers, directors that I spoke to, recommended a guy called Glyn Jelley, legend, awesome name, love his name, and he runs a company called Summit Chartered Accountants in Media City UK. Looks after loads of actors, production companies, producers, directors, writers, etc. Really understands this industry. So I spoke to Glyn over the last couple of weeks. He officially became my accountant yesterday. And what do I do, Petch? The minute is my accountant. Share the love. I'm like, you've got to come and do a podcast for Acts on This, actsonthis.tv, for the community. All the actors who watch the vlog are in the Acts on This community, because I just know it'll be really, really beneficial, and it will help you guys get your finances in order. And ultimately, like I say, save you money this year. There's all this upheaval right now around Brexit. People are like, how's that going to affect my accounts? Will it affect my accounts? All this kind of stuff as well. So to get rid of all that uncertainty, we're bringing Glyn in, going to record an exclusive podcast for you guys. You're definitely going to want to go over to actsonthis.tv, get a premium membership to listen to the whole thing, but on this vlog we're at least going to show you behind the scenes of it, and I think we'll have an exclusive chat with Glyn at the end where, you know what, I'm just going to make him, going to put him on the spot, Petch. Now I pay him. I'm gonna make him do like an incredible deal for any actors in the community who are just starting out or who want a consultation, you know, to ultimately take their finances to the next level when it comes to streamlining it and just getting all your accounts in order. So I'm going to make him do you an incredible deal. Anything else to add to that, Petch, or should we just go get set up?
Well, on the 31st is my birthday.
31st of January is not just the tax deadline. It's also Petch's birthday, so don't forget that. Send him a gift. Right, I'm going to finish this up, get to the apartment, and next shot, well, maybe not next shot, a couple of shots, going to introduce you to Glyn. Come on, Petch, let's go. Here we are. are. Glyn, you're looking very flash in your suit. You're outdoing me today. Welcome to the vlog.
Thanks for having me.
How is the world of accounting today?
It's wonderful.
It's wonderful. How exciting does it get?
Very exciting. Numbers, pencils,
Calculators. Just what we've been talking about. Yeah, honestly, this is going to be awesome, right? So basically, we're going to go and record this podcast now. It's going to be the most in-depth education these guys have ever had on like finance and accounts for actors. If you want to listen to the full podcast, get yourself over to actsonthis.tv, get a premium membership. It's just 10 quid a month, or it's a bargain 90 quid a year, Glyn.
Yeah.
The exciting thing about this, with it all being about money, is if you do go and get a membership, if you've not got one already, what is that for an actor, Glyn?
Tax deductible.
Tax deductible. So basically, right, I'm saving you bloody money by you signing up, not only because you're going to get Glyn's knowledge, because you're going to be able to take it off your, profit, effectively, not paying tax on it. Ready for this?
I am.
Ready, Petch?
Ready?
To the office.
Everyone I speak to in Media City are like, when I was looking for new accountants and speaking to them at Social 7, speaking at Mark and Carl and everyone around there, they're all like, Glyn, 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 Glyn. So it seems like you are now the go-to guy for like actors, directors, producers, a lot of people in Media City. I guess you must have a lot of clients working in the industry.
Yeah. I get the glory position that people say it's me. I've got a great team around me.
Oh, look how humble he is, Petch.
Yeah, no, you can't do all the work yourself. It is a whole team of staff doing the work. I'm just like the face that is meeting the clients. I'm the person who's dealing with the very end point of like the tax things and running through their accounts with them, and the person they come to with the problems, but all their day-to-day accounts work is done by the team, and obviously you're only as good as the team you got. So people say Glyn, but really it's
Shout out to the team. Let's start like right from the very, very, very beginning. If there's graduates or people brand new to the industry listening to this right now, let's make it as basic as possible and look at when an actor first starts having to, think about registering as self-employed and what that, actually what the implications are.
Yeah, well, first of all, there's kind of a £1,000 buffer that you're allowed when you earn money that you don't have to register as self-employed and you don't have to declare. This was brought in for like eBay traders, really, but
right, okay.
It applies across the board. So it might be a case that someone's just got one little job in acting or one little voiceover or just something, a few £100s. That doesn't need declaring. If it's something they want to pursue, if it's something they're going to carry on doing, I'd recommend someone register self-employed as early as possible, because what you're going to find is you're already behind with what you're doing. You might find you get your next job and you get your agent, and then you're still not registered as self-employed, you're not keeping proper records, you haven't spoken to anyone to help you, and then suddenly you're playing catch up. It seems like a scary world.
Well, that's it, yeah, because I guess you could just get one job out of the blue. It's just 200 quid. And you think, oh, you know what? I don't need to register. It's under that grand threshold. It doesn't really matter. But then, 8 months down the line, you get something that's 1,500 quid, and you're like, oh, wait a minute. Now I need to go back and get all the stuff for that job that was 200 quid. I think it's super sensible. So to clarify, then, people have a tax allowance anyway. So they might be working in a job. So I used to work at the Trafford Centre. From 2019 right now, that allowance is 12.5 grand.
That's right, yeah.
So you can earn 12.5 grand before you pay tax anyway. Yeah. That might be all taken up with your day job though, as an actor. On the side, your little side hustle, you get the odd job, you've got a grand buffer.
That's right, yeah.
But anything over that grand, if your tax allowance is being taken up by your main job, if you're just entering, the acting industry to begin with, and it's something you're kind of building up, you've got that £1,000 buffer. After that, everything has to be declared and you've got to pay tax on it.
That's right. And national insurance is a little bit different, so you're getting your £12,500 tax allowance, but your national insurance allowance is much lower, so it's around the £8,500 mark. It's just gone up, and people sometimes forget about national insurance.
Talk to me about this, because there's different types of national insurance.
So when you're in a job, you will have your tax allowance, your national insurance allowance. You get your pay slip, you'll notice some taxes coming out of it. You'll notice your national insurance is coming out of it.
Yeah.
That's one type of national insurance, okay? Class 1A. So you've got this national insurance you pay in employment. When you're self-employed, it's completely different. So you have Class 2 national insurance, which is like an annual charge. To make it easy, it's about £150 a year.
Okay.
No matter what, you need to pay that unless you can apply to be like a low-cost trader and not pay it. for the sake of £150, it's usually worth it because that's a tick in your like pension box when you're older. You want to make sure you get a state pension. So it's still worthwhile paying it unless you like desperately can't afford to pay that. Then you've got your class 4 national insurance, which is based on your earnings then. So you got this one type of national insurance, class 2, you have to pay, and it's a flat fee. And then you have the 9% that you pay on anything above the national insurance threshold.
Which is £8,000.
It's about 8.5.
Oh, it gets quite complex, quite like straight away.
Yeah, well, national insurance changes again. So when you get to the higher tax rate threshold, it drops from like 9% to 2%. So there's lots of things around national insurance.
Straight away, I can see why
I don't
you
want
need
to
an
bore
accountant.
people.
No, this is just really interesting for people to know in terms of,
Yeah.
you know, again, you know, people might be like, oh, you know, tax and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just they're boring or whatever. But this is like really serious, and we'll talk later on about the, you know, the penalties and ultimately, you know, some pretty serious stuff that can happen to you if you don't, you know, have your stuff together and you don't file it on time. Definitely. And you don't pay the right amount, and you know there's some quite big consequences if you don't. I think to keep things simple, if you are starting out in the industry, I mean, I just think everyone should register self-employed, but if you think you're going to earn £1,000 in the current tax year or more, you really need to be on it and go, right, I need to be setting up as self-employed. Let's look at the differences between registering as self-employed and then another option people have, which is registering as a limited company, because this can make you more tax efficient. It's more applicable if you're a bit of a higher earner, I think, but then there's VAT that comes into that. Just talk people through it, because this is things that you'll hear people in the industry talk about all the time. Oh yeah, I've got a company, I put all my into a company. People don't really understand why.
Yeah. So
what are the grey areas then, you know, for claiming expenses that actors might think are legit, but actually they're questionable?
Okay, I'd say the most questionable areas are clothing, hair, makeup. I think they're the ones that people think they get most.
Yeah.
And there's only rare occasions when you do get those things. So clothing is the big one. A lot of actors, especially as they become more established, they think, well, I've got to look a certain way, I've got to be seen in certain circles. You know, I should be allowed to dress like this. I have to do this to keep my image up.
That's by my designer gear.
Yeah, I have to have like really nice hair. I have to look good all the time, which, you know, they probably do, but it's not tax deductible. And when it comes to clothing, it's only when it's costume based. So if it's something really specific for a role, they're allowed it.
So give us an example of costume then. So I guess if you go, I'm going to this audition and I'm going to be a policeman, so I'm going to buy a black V-neck jumper to go over this white shirt, so I give the impression that I'm a policeman. It's not real costume.
No, you could just then go to the shops with that, and it's not wholly and exclusively for your business. That is you wearing a jumper that you think like would help in that audition. If you rocked up in a police uniform that you've gone and bought,
full-on police gear.
Yeah, whether that, I suppose it could be used in private.
well, yeah, it depends what you're into.
Yeah, but that would be allowed because it's a costume.
Right.
Yeah. Hair and makeup, it's really rare that you're allowed it.
One other grey area I know, and this is somebody mentioned this again in the questions they sent me, was actors think that if they're taking a director out or something like that, or they're taking another group of actors out, or, you know, writers or whatever, anything to kind of network and help them get further in their career, that's tax deductible.
Yeah.
Again, no tax relief on that, yeah?
No, so entertaining isn't tax deductible. So most cases, you have a thing called travel and subsistence, where if you are away from your base of operations, most cases for an actor it's your home, because that's where you live, and you don't tend to have an office somewhere else where you act from.
Nope.
So around your vicinity of your home, it's quite a grey area with HMRC what that is. They don't put kind of a mileage distance in that.
Yeah.
But it's like common sense, really. And if you're away from your home and you get a tea or a coffee while you're on the go, you might be on your way to an audition and then you get some food while you're out and things like that. That's fine as long as it's just you, because that is you as a human needing to eat and drink whilst you're conducting your job. So that's fine.
So you don't pass out in your audition.
Yeah, exactly. And HMRC class tea and coffee is like something vital for a human, I suppose.
Well, coffee is absolutely vital for me, and tea is vital for Petch out there. Petch is filming this. He's lay on the floor in my hallway that's because he's not had any tea.
Yeah,
honestly,
didn't get to finish it.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's vital.
Yeah. So when it's entertaining, it's one or more people.
Yep.
And you can still. So say you're a limited company, and you have taken out someone in your industry because you want to catch up with them, you want to build your relationship with them, you want them to realise that you're all right, you're looking
Bit
for
of
a role.
schmoozing, like when I met you in Media City in the Holiday Inn, very classy surroundings in the
Definitely.
Starbucks franchise. Technically, I bought the coffees that morning.
Yeah.
I ain't claiming that back.
No, because that would be entertaining.
I've entertained Glyn too early. That's the thing. Now let's talk about what we should be claiming back.
Yeah. So
Because there's quite a lot I think people don't know. And these are the things, I didn't know half of these things that we've got down here. I've got a list, but maybe you riff and I'll fill in if we miss anything out.
so first and foremost, I think
What happens when HMRC do want to investigate you? How would you flag up? You know, what are the things that really like make people stand out so HMRC do come after them?
Yeah, well, first of all, they can investigate anyone. Like, there's no one too small. They will investigate anyone.
They'll come for you.
Yeah, so obviously the implications of investigating someone who's smaller is going to be there's going to be less chance of having a big adjustment to make, but it's easier for them to find an issue.
Yeah.
As you said. There's a couple of ways, really. So one, they just have basically a roulette wheel going all the time, and it just spot check people.
Just a random.
So you can just randomly be checked. That you can't do anything about that. Another type is you get flagged on the system. So everyone has a sector. When they ask what you do, that will mean that your tax return type is put into a category.
Yeah.
And within that category, they'll know what everyone else is doing and kind of ratios and trends with type of expenses versus what your income
It's like
is.
an algorithm for that industry.
Yeah, that's it. And then not only that, they will look at your previous years compared to your current year.
Yeah.
So if they see big changes and things like that, they'll say, well, hang on a minute, why is their mileage gone up from like 2,000 to like 20,000? Something going on there. What they'll do then is they don't want to use their resources. So then they'll ask specific questions about certain items, because if you can give a proper answer and just prove why, it's not worth their time to investigate. So if they were a case of why has this jumped so much, and you say, well, actually, there was a lot going on in London. I was having to go back and forth all the time. Accommodation's really expensive down there, so if I was travelling more, here's my mileage log. These are the dates of all the appointments in my diary.
Yeah.
And that's why it's increased to 20,000 miles in that year.
It's legit.
They'll go, oh yeah, that's what it is. No need to investigate. Thanks for your reply, and that's it. If you go, oh, well, I worked it out that I'm doing X amount of journeys a week, so I averaged it out at this amount per week, and what have you, they go, that's not right. That's not what we do. I need a detailed mileage, or can you provide it? Or no, I haven't kept a record. Right, we're going to come in. Can you provide us with all your information for your tax return, where you got every figure from, and I need like corresponding receipts, and I want to see why you got this and you got that. And they'll just go through it, find everything that's wrong, whack a penalty on you for not doing things properly and to trying to reduce your tax bill unfairly. And if you've underpaid tax, then you have to pay the difference on that tax.
If you've not been true and fair,
not been true and
you
fair,
are going down.
Exactly, yeah.
What can it go up to? Like highest percentages?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but they do go up like 100%.
So oh god, you can end up paying double, man.
Yeah.
To make this really clear, this is for actors who have never registered as self-employed. This is not for people who have got a really complex situation. That's going to be dealt with by Glyn and his company if you want to work with him on an individual basis. But if you want to set up for the first time, maybe you're a drama school graduate or you're just getting into this and you want to go self-employed, you've got kind of a bit of a gesture of goodwill to offer these people. Talk us through that.
Yeah, well, basically, we're the idea that when someone's starting off as an actor, especially when they're younger as well, they don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
It's
or older when you're like me.
Yeah. It's a completely new world. You don't know how to set up as a self-employed person. You're not sure what records you're meant to keep. You're not sure what you're meant to do. Those people probably need the most support, and the people who don't want to pay for the support or can't afford to pay for that support.
Yeah.
So what we try to do is be there as that support from the word go at a really low cost. We do it on a cost basis to try and give that basis for them to grow.
Yeah.
I think, well, I've seen people in that industry who kind of muddle their way through and wing it and then get absolutely hammered
Battered
for
tax later on
because they've done everything wrong. It can ruin their lives. They can end up bankrupt.
Danny Miller was really honest when he came on this podcast. He plays Aaron Dingle in Emmerdale.
Yeah.
He got really into like serious financial trouble because he was a young lad who went from nothing to any significant revenue. Nobody taught him about tax.
No.
He was not trying to hide anything or evade it. No one had taught him anything about it.
Yeah.
It really screwed him up for years.
Yeah, exactly. So we try to give that kind of support on the financial side, and also in kind of giving advice about how much to put aside on an ongoing basis, or you've got this through. We get the information through from their agent of how much they're earning, so we can keep the records up to date, and then we're going, right, you've earned this, you need to be putting this aside on an ongoing basis. Don't spend that. You're going to need that for your tax bill at the end of the year, and giving them that platform to like grow from, and by offering that support at the beginning, the more likely to succeed, and hopefully they see the value we add to them, and we grow with them, and as they're more successful, obviously that's a good thing for us as well. So that's kind of how we work. So with anyone who's not got an underlying complex tax issue and they just want to set up as self-employed, first of all, if they use us as an accountant, we don't charge to set them up self-employed.
Just set them up for free.
Set them up for free.
Boom.
The reason we do that is we know it's right. So if they're using us as an accountant, we want them to have been set up right in the first place, rather than picking up someone else's bodge job. So it's a case of we do that for free if they were going to use us as the accountant. And then if we're talking really basic first year, we do the tax return for that first year, including that setup, and it'd just be like £150 plus VAT for that first year's tax return to make sure everything was right. We've educated them in what they can and can't claim for, how they should keep their records, and providing things on a timely basis, get everything set up right for them. And they've had that cheap first year, everything up and running, they've not had to worry about it, and that gives them a good platform to go in the next year.
Bang. Right, there you go. That was that is absolutely, I reckon, online, the most in-depth education any actor will ever get on accountancy and tax, right? A lot of people might have been thinking, or maybe, you know what, you're like, oh, I don't want to go and listen to the whole podcast because maybe it's all boring, it's just about money and accountancy, and that's not as exciting as acting. There's some absolute gold in that podcast that will make you more money as an actor. Get over to actonthis.tv, get your premium membership, which is tax deductible. Go listen to the whole thing. Glyn, yeah, absolutely awesome. Your knowledge is ridiculous. We'll talk about just two things we'll expand in this chat. To begin with, there'll be people watching this who are not yet self-employed. We've established that. And they might be venturing out into the acting industry, for the first time, or maybe they've been around a couple of years, but they've not earned enough to actually, warrant a tax return yet. And they'll be thinking, oh, well, that's all well and good, about talking about accountancy. I'm not at that stage yet. I'll just, bodge my tax return together next year, or do the first couple of years on my own. Let's just talk about kind of like the pitfalls of that and why. This is just I just think it's absolutely critical. If I was starting out today, why you should start out, on the foundation, moving forward of doing things properly.
Yeah, so what I'd say is if you want to do anything, not just acting, anything, you want to get the foundations right. Yeah. So if you want to be a successful actor, you don't want to blag your first few years of keeping your records and setting yourself up as an individual and doing it wrong. So if you can get those foundations right, you've set yourself up to become successful. There's no point going, right, I'm going to fumble my way through the first couple of years. I'm not sure if I'm putting it through right, but I'll just chuck it through anyway. Yeah. You start establishing yourself. You get yourself a reputation that you're doing well. You get yourself a really good contract with a mainstream series or something. HMRC rock up, go, we want to investigate your last 6 years tax returns. They find out your first 1 or 2 or 3 are all wrong. Ends up in the press that you're dodgy. You end up with all these black mark with HMRC already. They're going to keep watching what you're doing. You're earning more and more money. The implications are worse. So it's like if you get that foundation right from the word go, you've got like the perfect platform to build on, really. And that's just not acting. I think that's everything. Do it properly. And that's the best grounds to do anything.
Glyn did mention an offer that his company does, where if you are just starting out and you have no complex kind of underlying tax issues or something like that, and you want to get set up as a self-employed person, his company will basically do all that setup for free, and they'll do your company, well, not your company, your sole trader accounts for the first year for 150 quid plus VAT. You work with actors and your clients like Petra was saying before, almost like an agent works with their actors. How important is it for you as an accountant to kind of get that relationship with your clients right?
Yeah, so I think people's traditional perception of an accountant is once a year you got your tax return to do. Yeah. And once a year they'll get in contact with you, go, here's a bigger bag of receipts for the year. This is my income for the year, do my tax return. And it's really hard to do things in hindsight. So if you're a year or so down the line and you're trying to do someone's work, you're going, well, have you got this? Have you got that? Did you think about this? Did you think about that? You can't go back in time. You're not a time traveller. There's nothing you can do about it. So we try to act a little bit different in that we like to be part of that person's unit, I suppose. So I think everyone needs good people around them. They need a support network, especially in acting. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to con people and what have you, and people feel quite vulnerable because it's a new area. We try to be part of that. So like an agent is part of that actor, we also try and be part of that actor and say, you know, are you thinking about this? Have you put this aside? You put this ready for tax at the end of the year? You know, make sure you keep your receipts for this. Is this in place? You know, we need to get this filed at this certain point in time. And that means that actor can just get on with acting. Yep. Which ultimately is what every business owner should be doing. They should be getting on with the reason that they're in business, not with going, oh, I need to do my tax, which is kind of what we try and do. We just want to be part of what they do, really.
I'm going to be on the phone to you every day going, Glyn, I'm out, I'm having this coffee. I don't know if it's far enough away from my house to be able to actually put through my accounts. If you want to know all about that, like literally the minutiae of expenses and things you can and can't claim back and things you should be claiming and shouldn't be claiming back in your tax return, like I say, go listen to that podcast. Glyn, it's been awesome, man. Like, massively appreciate you spending this time with us. Petch, you got any questions in particular you want to ask?
It's not a question, really. It's in school, I learned Pythagoras' theorem. Not once today have I used it. I've never been taught how to do taxes. I've never been taught how to do insurance. I've never been taught how to buy a house. And just the sheer value of information you gave on that podcast, I think it's just going to be invaluable to all actors up and down the country. Thank you.
There you go. We should learn tax and accounting at school. Awesome. Well, cheers for that, Petch. Thanks for the acknowledgement. Social media's up on screen right now. If you want to reach out to Glyn, tag us in all your posts. Let us know what you thought of this. Keep watching. We're going to be back next week with, actually, we've got potentially 2 guests in the pipeline. Don't know which one's going to come first, so I won't spoil the surprise for you. We did try and have this guest on last week's podcast and last week's vlog, but we had some massive train issues on the way down to London, so it couldn't happen. Maybe it'll happen next week. Yeah, keep watching. Thanks. If you do anything for you, reach out. With that, Glyn, you know the catchphrase. Yep. He knows it. He's getting ready. This is the first time we've had like a professional. This is the first time anyone in a suit has shouted this. Right, you ready, Petch? Ready. In 3, 2, 1. Thanks for watching. Bye for now. Thank you so much for watching this episode. It really would mean the world to me if you would leave a comment telling me what you enjoyed and what you would like to see more of next time. If you want to catch more episodes, head over to facebook.com/WatchRoss or youtube.com/WatchRoss. Make sure you subscribe and turn your notifications on. I'll be back real soon. Bye for now. Yes. We've got the coconut milk.
What concoction do you want today?
Right, can I have a massive coconut latte with amaretto syrup, large?
Amaretto coconut.
Proper large, Dilly.
Large.